So I think we could probably start with um, this one because it was kind of like what we were talking about with marriage and stuff. This one's actually a parenting one, actually, but it says, but I think it's kind of a marriage parenting one. So it says, my husband says I'm taking away his freedom.
Oh my
Uh, all right.
god.
although,
These dumb
although,
guys. These
although, but
dumb guys.
let's just say though the title is already very one-sided so far, right? Like,
Well,
so
it's a quote.
it's like, well, it's not in quotes, so it could have
But
been
it's like,
like, can I just finish watching the game? And she's like, my husband's taking away. Well, I didn't read it yet, but
yeah, I'm just
he
saying
could have just been
she's
like, hey, can
it's
you turn it back
hearsay
to
for
my?
sure.
Hey, I really wanted to watch that show. Do you mind if we turn it back? And she's like,
Oh, what am I taking away your freedom?
just like Jared.
So
Um,
extreme.
all right, so all right, I'm ready to read. So on April 15th, we welcomed our little girl. She was in the NICU for 2 weeks, and we've been home just over a week. Jeez, okay, let the dust settle. For context, my husband's job requires him to work 2 nights per week until 8 p.m. And on Saturdays, he gets a day off during the week, no fixed day. Before I was pregnant, he used to go to his
No.
soccer games and, more importantly, drinking afterwards. Twice per week, uh, twice per week, and he went running on Sunday and or on his day off. I really need a calendar if you're going to
He
explain
ran
this,
for the
but
whole day.
he
Well,
went
I'm
running
following so far.
and he went running on Sunday and or on his day off for hours on end.
Hours on
Hours on
end,
end.
training for a marathon
Jeez. There used
as a
to
nurse and a
he was
soccer
just
player.
drinking, yeah. There used to be weeks when we would only see slash talk to each other for a few minutes in bed. Since I got pregnant, I asked him to scale back on his soccer slash. She loves slash. There's a lot of slash in this. Soccer slash drinking to once a week. That sounds awesome. Yeah. Wait, wasn't it already once a week? Hold on. Before I got pregnant, he used to go to his soccer games, and more importantly, oh, they were twice per week. Okay, there was a comma, so there shouldn't have been a comma there. Okay, I get it now. Maybe it sounded correct to you.
Yeah.
Dial it back to once a week, and to plan his runs closer to home, so that he's not gone an entire day. He reluctantly agreed after lots of fighting and drama. So today I stayed home with our baby girl, and he came back from work for about 2 hours. He changed one diaper. Before he left to a barbecue with his friends at 7 p.m. I asked him when he would be home, and he said before 1 a.m. at the latest. I asked him if he could be home by 10 p.m. He claims I never said that, but I am 100% certain that I did. So by 11 p.m., he's still not home. So I text him, I'm going upstairs with our baby girl and that he needs to sleep on the couch and to not wake us. Jeez. Admittedly, it was not a nice text. Um, I would probably laugh if I got a text like that. I would just be in so much trouble. I'd
I'd
be
be like,
like,
why don't you just stay on the
sure.
couch?
It would also just be like, okay, like, thanks for not like setting another trap. Like, I'll just go and sleep on the couch and deal with it in the
Right.
morning. Like, I don't have to
Right.
have like a midnight fight.
Right.
He got home a few minutes later and we blew up again. See, you should have just let him sleep on the couch. That's okay. Anyway, apparently he believes I take away his freedom when I ask him to let me know when he will be home. He needs to feel the atmosphere of the night. He needs to, oh, sorry, this is a quote. He needs to feel the atmosphere of the night. It's like a
The
Bruce
fuck
song.
out of here. What are you in
Yeah.
college?
Spirit of the night
Hippie.
all night.
Get your micro dosing
I
over
need to
with
feel
and
the
shut up the
atmosphere of the
spirit
night.
of the night. You need to feel the spirit of your home that you're the head of now.
Are you too good for your home?
Going to barbecues with your douchebag friends without
They
your
could be
wife
really
and
nice
kid.
friends. They could be like, why don't you go home? They could be like telling him,
They're
we don't
probably
know.
like, "Well,
Let's not pull the friends down.
they're probably like, why aren't you home? And he's like, guys, I take 6-hour runs. Why do you think I'm not home? I hate it.
I run and then just sit for hours.
Yeah. Yeah. He sits in his car.
Yeah, he does. before he can decide to come home. I ask him, okay, I ask him so I at least know something so I can plan my night accordingly. But to him, that is unfair. It's also not just tonight, though. Last week, he went for a run with a friend, and I didn't know at what time or for how long. So when he left for his run, I went for a walk with our baby, and he got upset that he couldn't join the walk. But he just left us for his run without saying when he would be back. So how could I know when to plan it between feeds? He has also said that taking care of my needs during pregnancy. Oh, this sentence is not going to end well. He also said that taking care of my needs during pregnancy, so basically giving up one night of soccer and drinking, has pushed him to the edge of a burnout. During this is so dangerous. During pregnancy, he threatened to leave me if he would not be allowed to do whatever he wants once the baby arrived. Am I taking away his freedom? Question mark. In my eyes, I'm just asking him to be home a bit more and to communicate about his plans, but I guess I'm being unreasonable. Question mark. It's not a question, but
Dude, it was like the example we just talked about. These couples, they don't hang out enough, but they're together. They see each other once a week. They usually are drunk, and they get engaged and they get a kid, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't think past any of this. I didn't think past today."
well, where was the at least the kid discussion? Because I don't really get I'm not even going to tap into the whole relationship thing here, where they're obviously not communicating about
Mhm.
priorities, right? Like
Right,
they've
right.
got the they've
That's
got
too obvious.
the you know just the communication of like, I'm going for a run, I will be back at this time.
Right, they
That
don't
is a
even do that.
reasonable thing. The problem is they haven't said it really out loud. It sounds like it's coming more in the middle of a fight,
Mhm.
which is not. Then somebody would have to completely back down and accept it, and they're not, obviously not at this point, right? So
It's like you bump heads on like a couple things that don't really get resolved, then a huge explosion happens, and like you have this list of rules ready. Like you got to do
right,
it once a week. It's like, no,
right.
I will just do some, like that. You can't, I don't know. And you're always like, yeah, sure, I'll compromise. And then you're like, no, I don't want to. But it just seems like this guy is not uh, in the mood to be a dad or a husband.
Yeah, it doesn't. It sounds like it's like, I want to still be a bro.
Yeah, like, dude, more than an hour walk, and Heather texts me like, "Are you okay?"
Well, that's nice. I mean,
ETA, and it's like that'll never happen. Rarely happens.
yeah.
And he's going for like all day walks on Sunday, which to me means he's just going somewhere and watching football.
How long can he run? I mean, he's working these like late
Soccer
shifts,
player,
and he works some
nurse.
Saturdays, and then it doesn't say what he does.
Well, they said he works 3 days a week and a Saturday. So I'm gonna guess that's a nurse, because then it's like he does soccer, the bar, soccer slash drinking,
Right.
the two other days. So and then he runs on Sunday.
I would like to know their ages. I know that doesn't determine really
There's
anything,
there's
but
so much of reality that you just have to take out for these. Otherwise, you're like, well, they did go to Reddit for advice.
yeah, it could be all like all these things
You
could be
take
just
that away.
fabricated for um,
But
comment.
it's just like, dude, you have no one, and you have to spew it to the world. Like, what the hell? I mean, I
No,
guess that's. I mean, I know, but it's also like, well, what else don't you know?
I mean, by this point, it's just in the DNA of the next generation to just post
Maybe you're
stuff
right.
on
Maybe
the
you're right.
internet.
It's not that. It's not that bizarre. Like, to me, it's still like AOL Instant Messenger
To
going for
be
advice.
to be
Like, dude,
fair,
those are just strangers. Who the fuck do they know?
if I step back through my Facebook posts, I definitely posted that I was having a malaria flu attack, which actually probably saved my life because my mom somehow saw it and then was like you just got back from India, you shouldn't be like passing out on the couch and then waking up with a fever. Like you need to go get to infectious disease. And they were like, you have malaria. And I was like, oh.
But what you could have just called your. Wouldn't that have been the first person you would call anyway?
No, but I mean, the funny thing was, is I didn't. Like the funny thing was, is
But you didn't
like
think you were that bad.
well, in my younger brain, my
Of
first instinct
course.
was something interesting is happening to me. I better go tell everybody. You know,
Right. But yes, again, you were like 20 and
like 20-year-olds get
not a
like
dad.
skin their knees and they're like, yes. And they're like, take a picture of it. Like something happened to me. Look at my blood. You know, like this new thing happened to me. And so I get it. I get the posting of it.
But
But
that's just that generation. You're right. It's like almost like the phone. It's like one of them is going to be born with one in its hand.
right.
Like all these like protests and shit. I'm like, the worst part of it all is that you all think you're streaming and you're gonna become like famous. Like it's just such cheese, dude. I'm just like, oh, you're all 1,000 of 1,000.
Yeah.
Not
It's
special.
no.
You don't know what you're doing.
No. And actually it's good to be kind of like
Watching.
well, it's good to be like away from that as well because like if you spend too much time on social media, and I started getting this feeling because I made the mistake of actually going on Facebook, and I haven't for a very long time. So I
I
was not
hate it.
prepared for how
It's
cranked to
so
11 it was,
stupid.
because I don't think I've been on it since like 2010, and I
Agnew,
was
it is
like, maybe
still
if I
what
just
we
look at
used
it
to
a little
talk
bit.
about. It's still what we used to talk about in 2011. No matter what post it is, no matter what topic it is, as soon as the negative comment comes, it ends in politics and religion, and
Oh,
you don't
geez.
even know. It's like a jeans commercial. Like you don't even know where it started. It's a mess, and I hate it. And
Ugh.
even dude, I've tried dwindling it down to like primarily Seinfeld related things, and even those are ruined now by the masses who are asses. It's
Ugh.
like the the first Bluetooth blue thing. We were like, yeah, it's cool, but like douchebags wear it, so now it's like dorky to have it.
Right.
We ruin everything, even the cool things.
Of course. Like the whole purpose of having things is to
Planet of the
ruin
Apes.
them, and then we go, oh, I
Oh,
guess
we
it wasn't
learned.
so great.
Why does it have to be so catastrophic when we learn things?
Because like this is the thing. This is when we were young
Destruction leads creation.
and we were sitting there and we were playing Nintendo together. Life was perfect as an 11-year-old. Like if it was like you and your friends sitting next to each other, and not even Nintendo, just doing anything, right? Like
Garbage time.
having a catch with a baseball, or doing anything, right? Like whatever you were doing,
Making
you
a
were doing
hoagie.
it together, and you felt like you had all the time in the world. You know, like it was like a Saturday or a day in the summer, and it's like you don't have anything to do. The problem started when we started thinking that we were missing things to do. Right? Like the problem started when we thought other people were having fun and we weren't. Like if we thought that like somebody was, in their pool, or some people are hanging out, and we're not hanging out with them, like
The oversharing.
that's when things started falling apart. And that's just exactly what you get from things like Facebook and Instagram and stuff like and social media, right? Like you get the idea that everybody's doing something. Like I remember I had somebody come up to me once, and they were like, how are the kids, like how do you get all so much time to do so much stuff with your kids? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
You
And
know,
they're
what
like,
else is there to do?
But no, but I mean, like, I didn't even know what they were talking about because I'm like, how do you even know what I do with my kids? Like, I don't,
Oh.
like, like I don't know where this is coming from. But I guess there were like Kelly
I
had
know
put
I know what you're up to.
posts online and stuff like that for like we were at the zoo and then we were like at some other thing and I'm like, I don't know, we just went to the park that day and we went to the zoo that day and took a picture of the kids. But we're not doing like exuberant activities. But if all you see is that, like you also don't see the trouble of putting them down at bedtime, like you don't see me cleaning up like puke, like you don't, you know, you don't see me
No
arguing with
one
a
posts a
neighbor or
bad
something.
day.
Yeah, right. So nobody posts anything
And
bad,
if
so it
they
just seems
do,
like,
it's obnoxious and shut the fuck up.
well, and then it ends with
By the
like
responses, I
was
mean.
I wrong? Like yeah, you are.
If
You
you
know,
have to post.
I don't know, like this lady ends this with, "Am I being unreasonable?" And I, I don't know if that's the right thing to say. Like, I
That's
don't
not
know
the
if it's about
question.
unreasonable. No, like you can be like you are a recently pregnant with a newborn mother. You can be as unreasonable as you want for almost any circumstance. Like you have a free pass
The question
for a
is,
good while.
were your expectations unreasonable?
Yeah, I think that's, and were they clearly described beforehand? Like you can't.
And didn't she say he said like he wanted to do whatever he wants once the baby comes? What? I mean, when she's pregnant is when you can like get away with the most because she's just not in the mood, and you can, and it's like this is it. And then the baby comes, you got to kind of shut it down.
That's like when you have to get. That's when you're in as helpful a mode as you can possibly be in.
Yeah, right. You're the tambourine man. You are not important, but you have to come to every
I, I
song.
mean, it's almost like they got mortally wounded too. Like it's almost like if you were out at 7-Eleven with your girlfriend and she got shot and you guys came home and she's like kind of stuck at home from being like injured, you'd probably take care of her. Like you'd probably have her in your mind. And it's funny that in this situation you don't.
And it's not even that she got shot. There's a new human that you made there.
That too.
So like, aren't you kind of interested in your kid? I think that's numero uno problem. The fact that he wants to still go to barbecues and stuff and he has a new person at home. He wasn't ready.
I've seen a generation, and I can't say a generation. I've just seen a lot of younger men in dating situations where they look like little clones of like NBA stars in their uh you know
Oh.
Cribs video or something like that. Like when MTV Cribs used to
Or
visit like somebody and they'd be like, "Oh, like look at my big screen TV and like look at I'm like, "Okay, fine." Like but
we're making
how is
fun
your
of you.
how is your relationship going? Like how are you getting ready for marriage and how are you like where's your target? Like TVs are cool.
Yeah, I know,
um
but that's just the thing that I have too.
what do you mean?
Like I'm
Oh,
saying, like that's not
that's
you.
a
That has nothing to do with you.
bit different.
Your TV is just a thing, and I have one of them.
Right.
It's like get off of that. I hate that shit.
Yeah, so
I hate
it's
it.
yeah.
Stuff. I like brought that word up for the first time, and it caught Hannah's ear. I was like, this materialistic nonsense. It doesn't matter. Husband losing his freedom.
I forgot to put that up.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of mirrored to the question from last show where it was like, life is over now that you have a kid.
Right.
It's like
Oh yeah, it is kind of like that.
you lose something because you're not that person anymore. So that person is dead, whether you like it or not. Really, you can pretend like there isn't a kid that exists,
Well, I mean, it's
but
also
it's
like
there.
the sentence is also kind of funny. It's like my husband says I'm taking away his freedom. I'm like, yeah, that's what being a husband is. Like, sorry. Like it's
Well, it's
not
like you gave away your freedom, Bubs.
you
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 stood in front of
willingly took an oath
whatever your God
saying
is. Yeah,
I'm giving
right.
away my freedom. It's not about me, it's about you now. But
Sanctioned by your Lord.
it's not, you know. or your state, depending on who you are. But it's like
True.
you still made a promise.
Yeah, and the state is way stricter and way more of an enforcer than whatever god
Yeah.
you may have. They are
So
not late.
when you become a husband, you lose freedom. When you become a father, you lose freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you lose it willingly. Like to blame your wife for taking it is not exactly the right route to take.
Right,
But
and if you're not there, the kid's not going to know you, and that's just going to be brutal one day when you come to your dumbass senses.
yeah, I mean, honestly, you're missing out on some of
Yeah,
the
right.
best.
I know. You're like, there's this room, there's this laboratory in your brain that you haven't even stumbled upon yet.
Yeah.
And when you open it, it's like, oh my God, this is the best thing that I've come across so far.
And it could be that it's so early too. Like
True. It is
he could be
boring in the beginning.
he could be freaking out, which is understandable. There's really not much for a husband to do at that point, right? Like there's no bottles at that point, you know. It sounds like she's
Especially if she's
breastfeeding, so
breastfeeding. Yeah,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
really nothing for the dad other
But he
than,
could help
yeah,
with like the
diaper change
timing.
here
It
and there.
sounds like it sounds like diaper changes. You can
And
really get good at
she's
doing
going
like
to pump.
the swaps in the middle of the night. You can do night feeds. You know, you can be the the bed changer because the bed like the baby's crib is going to get messy at some point unless you're super lucky, you know.
You are the
Um
utility player.
right. So
You've been demoted.
you got to take care
Still
of
on the
everything
team.
else.
Still on the team, and if you wanted, you could beat up all the players. But for right now, you're just the utility guy.
Yeah.
Just
And
go where we need you.
you could honestly just do simple things. And I think if you did all those things and then you said, "Hey, like
Peace.
I need to go back to soccer at least like one night a week." And but I think he should be back before 1 a.m. Like that's kind of like
He needs to. I mean, dude, you just got to learn to sit around. That's the hardest part at this stage because you've just been going up until this point, like almost invincible, humanity at its peak, you know, in your 20s or whatever, how old you are. And then
yeah.
it's like, slam the brakes, find some TV shows
Yeah.
and buckle in for like not a lot of sleep.
And also you put some brakes on the drinking. Like I get the soccer. Like
Yeah, that's
soccer
good.
and running, those are things he might need. Like he might
Soccer also
need
doesn't take all day.
running is important for exercise and mental health and stuff like that for some people,
Totes.
not for me,
Totes.
but for other people.
Not for me.
And soccer could be a great outlet. It's a way to maybe stay connected with his friends when he won't get to see them very often because of work and being home with the newborn.
Correct. These are
So,
all good things for a husband and dad.
yeah.
But
But
if they're taking all day, I don't get it.
yeah,
Something's missing.
no, there's a reason that we do the podcast after we've done the dishes. Like the day's over. I would love to do this at 10 a.m., you know,
Oh my God, it'd be the
but
greatest thing ever.
our brains would be just on all cylinders.
Razor blade sharp.
Like if I could still be having coffee.
It'd be like a 2-hour Ric Flair promo from both of us.
We'd have
That's
to split it.
exaggerating.
We'd have to split it because both windows would just be on fire and we'd have
Rattling.
to it would be too much to take in. We'd have to issue it with a left and right soundtrack and you'd have to wear headphones and just listen to John in one ear and me in the other and be like, "Oh my God, it's happening."
That'd be funny.
I did think about spatial at one point, but
Of course you did.
could be unique.
It is unique.
It is unique,
like,
but you'd really
because I
need
don't know
headphones.
anyone who does that. Yeah, you'd need two, and not a lot of people do two anymore.
Yeah, and if they don't plug it in all the way, they might just get one of us. You ever do that? Like where you
Who
like pulled it
plugs?
out and you don't get like
Oh
the
yeah.
left or right?
Yeah,
I
and I'm
don't think
like,
that really
"Oh, I
happens
guess these
anymore.
are broken."
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody plugs